I will give you the exact calling script that we use to convert 60% of our leads to booked sales meetings, and we call it the golden script. So before diving into the script, you need to understand the calling sequence. Keep in mind that each call in this sequence represents calling them 4 times after each other. So when the lead comes in, you need to call them immediately within 5 to 10 minutes. Why is that? Because the longer you wait to call the lead, the less chance you have of actually converting them into a booked meeting. So make sure that whenever a lead comes immediately, you need to pick up the phone and call them within 5 to 10 minutes. Now, let's say they didn't answer. If no answer, then you call after 20 minutes from the previous call. And if they didn't answer, then you call after 40 minutes. And then if they don't answer, you call after 2 hours. And if they don't answer, then you call after 3 hours. Now, let's say they didn't answer at all at this day, which we call day 0. Then they enter the second sequence, which is day 1 to 8. You need to call them at 9 a.m. and then you need to call between 12 to 12:30 p.m. And then if no answer, you need to call between 3:30 to 4. And then if no answer, you need to call them between 6:30 to 7 p.m. So this is when people wake up and they still didn't dive into work. And 12 to 12:30 is basically their lunch break. And 3:30 to 4, it's when people have less meetings because it's towards the end of the day. And 6:30 to 7, it's when they leave their work, right? So that's why we have these times. And let's say after calling them for 8 days straight, they still didn't answer. Then from day 9 onward, you call them every 3 days between 12 to 12:30 p.m. We found, according to our data, that most people answer the phone between 12 and 12:30. That's why we chose this time. And as you can see here, you can call this an aggressive calling sequence. However, this is for the people that opted in and left their information as they're interested in what you're doing. So if you call them and someone actually picked up the phone and you followed our script, no one will actually be angry at you. Now, as you now know the calling sequence, let's dive into the calling rules. Now, rule number 1, it will be a short 5 to 10 minutes call that enables you to qualify the lead and then schedule them as a meeting. It should not be longer than that. And rule number 2 is that the call must be as soon as you can. We usually aim for the initial 10 minutes the lead came in. And rule number 3, do not try to sell and do not give too much information. The goal of this call is just to book a meeting, because if you start selling or you give too much information on the phone call when you have only 5 to 10 minutes, the lead will start judging the product or service before they even have enough information, which of course will impact you negatively. So do not try to sell or give too much information on this call, and make sure that you set the agenda from the beginning that you're calling only to schedule their meeting. And the last rule is that you need to make sure that you are in control of the conversation, or you will be forced to give too much information in a very unclear way. So again, as I told you, it will negatively impact your results. So try to be in control of the conversation, be calm, set the agenda, and make sure they know that you're only calling to book their meeting. Now, let's dive into the script. Now, the first thing we say in our script is that we don't start the call by saying, hey, I'm calling you from X, Y, and Z, and then you just start selling them and they didn't even talk, right? The first thing we do is that ask, hey, is this, and then you input here the lead first name. For example, hey, is this James? After you do that, the lead will answer yes. Now you got the first yes from the lead, and that is very important. Now, after they answer yes, then you'll introduce yourself. Then your first name only. They don't need to know your full name. For example, it will be me. Hey, I'm Muhammad from Scalingverse. You left your information on, let's say, our ad, our landing page, whatever it is. And it was about your offer statement. Let's say generating more clients for your agency, etc., whatever it is. Now, it's very important to say the offer statement here and not what you do in general. Why are we putting here the offer statement? Because most likely, and that is what you should be doing, you're using the offer statement in your ads or landing pages. And that is what the lead will remember. They won't remember the full ad or the image ad, the video ad, or even the landing page copywriting. They're just remembering one sentence. For example, let's say it's the hook, which includes also the offer statement. So the focus is just to remind them of that hook, of, for example, the beginning of the video, the headline of the image, the headline of the landing page. And once they remember that, they will remember everything else. We're just trying to trigger their memory by saying the offer statement. So you will need to check with your marketing department. For example, if someone else is handling marketing, what is the sentence they're using on their ads? and also on landing pages, and you need to carry on with the same sentence on your calling script, because again, that will trigger their memory and they will remember that they actually left their information on this. So this way you won't get people saying, hey, I don't remember that I left my information on this, etc. Now, after you do that, then the lead will say, yes, that is correct. The second yes now you got from the lead. After they say this, then you set the agenda. You need to set the agenda of why you're calling. So you say, great, I'm calling you to book your meeting with our team to show you how we can your promise. So basically, what are you promising from your offer statement? For example, how to get you more clients, if we will carry on with the same example. Now also here, don't try to give too much information about what you're doing. You're just trying to carry on with the same messaging you had in marketing. So you will add here your promise from your offer statement. After you do that, then they will say sure, and then you will be like, great, would X time work for you? Now, even though this is very simple, a lot of people get it wrong, and what they say, I will send you the calendar link over by email or text, and then you can choose the time that works for you. That's not a good idea. You want to make sure that you book the meeting on the phone call itself. So you need the calendar to be open with you, and you need to know when is the salesperson available, and you need to know the time zone of the lead, and then you need to suggest the time on the phone call itself. So you would say, for example, great, would 10 a.m. Eastern time work for you? If they say yes, that would work, and then you just book them in. If they say no, doesn't work, you need to suggest another time, but make sure it's as early as possible. We're not trying to extend the sales cycle here. We're trying to shorten the sales cycle as much as we can, so make sure it's as early as possible. After you schedule them in, you need to confirm their email, because that's where you will be sending the reminders mostly. So you need to make sure that you ask them if their email is correct. So what you say is, so the email I have for you is, and then you say the email. Do you want me to send the meeting invite there? And then if they said yes, great. If they said no, take the new email and make sure that you say it back to them and ensure it's correct. And then after you do that, you will just say, great, I will send you the invite now. Just one last thing. And here you ask them the qualification question. Now you don't want to ask the qualification question and then schedule the meeting. It's not a good idea. You want to schedule the meeting and then ask the qualification question. Because what we found, according to our data and our clients' data, that when we ask the qualification question first, the conversation goes in a different direction, and it's very hard to retrack it again into scheduling a meeting with the lead. So make sure that you get the main thing off the plate initially, where you book the meeting, and then you ask the qualification question. After that, the lead will answer, and then, okay, great, first name, see you soon on the meeting, and boom, you have a qualified sales meeting scheduled. And of course, if you realized from their answer that they're not qualified, then you will say thanks for your interest, but according to your answer, I don't believe we are a good fit for you right now, and you will just cancel the meeting. Now let me break down to you why this script converts 60% of our leads into booked sales meetings. Now, the first thing is that you didn't start the call like everyone else where you're directly talking and selling. You asked them for their name, which triggered curiosity to know what is this call about. And also saying someone's name catches their attention. So that's why you're starting the conversation with, hey, is this James, for example. The second reason is that you stated where you got their information from, and that is very important. The third reason, you stated the objective of the call clearly. You set the agenda and you have set the expectations from the beginning. And the last reason is that before you ask them for a meeting, you already got 2 yeses from them, as you can see here. The first yes is here after you said their first name, and the second yes is that when they confirmed that they have actually left their information on the ad or landing page. And that's why this converts 60% of our leads into booked sales meetings. Now, if you want to get this document as a reference so you can edit it and start using it today, all you have to do is click on the link under this video to download it. If you want to see the exact marketing system that we use to schedule 213 qualified sales meetings a month, then all you have to do is click on the link under this video and it will direct you to a free training where I reveal the exact marketing system we use.